And welcome back to Stormworks Warzone. This is episode number 6. So I bringing in a new vehicle here. This is my A1 Skyraider. This is actually an old build. Did this quite a while ago. I love the Skyraider, and so I went back and did an update pass on it. So put in a different gauge. Put in the six pack. I'll credit the author of that in the description. Really great, kind of brings it back for some older aircraft. So let's kind of look really quick at the Skyraider, and we'll go out there and we'll harass the enemy. So A1 Skyraider was a really awesome plane. It's one of my favorite planes. It was, as a kid, I used to watch Discovery Wings, and I used to love the Skyraider. So this is the model that I'm running here. As you can see, it has a cool little door here. You can actually sit 2 people in the back. It was often used for close air support. It was carrier based. It's huge. It has a ton of weapons. It had a really long service life. They kept trying to replace it, and it would outlast its replacements. So they would put another aircraft on the carrier, hoping to replace the Skyraider, and they would have to retire those before this. It was just such a great and long-lived aircraft. It's really cool, man. They did some updates where they was essentially it held the role of the A6 intruder for a little while, whereas you can see they actually made it so you could put 4 people in the cockpit there. So they went through a ton of iterations and versions. It was supposed to be a really, I wouldn't say easy aircraft to operate, but it was pilot friendly in certain regards, where they could, I think some of the guys said, they could give you the book. They interviewed a pilot, and he said they could give you the book and you could read it over an afternoon, and you could get checked out in it in an afternoon. One of the issues, they actually lost somewhere. You can't go full throttle with this. It has a huge radial if you're going to do a go-around or a balk landing on a carrier, because what would happen is the propeller, if you figure the propeller is turning, let's say, to the left, the aircraft wants to dip right. The airplane wants to turn opposite the propeller. So as you're coming into land, if you give it a lot of throttle, if you went full throttle on a go-around, the right wing would dip, and it would actually put you right into the drink. So you had to be careful with that. But really cool airplane. You can see how many munitions they had. My favorite roll this had was the Sandy roll. And the Sandys, what they would do is, back during Vietnam, they would go and you would, if you had a downed pilot, they would send out helicopters from the carrier to go rescue the pilots. And so, of course, a helicopter is kind of a sitting duck as you're trying to rescue some downed pilots. So, they would take small arms fire. Well, what the Sandys would do is the Sandys would go in and they would try to instigate and draw off that fire. So they would go in low and slow and try to draw the fire. And they could take a ton of abuse and a ton of damage. And so they would actually do that close air support, and they would, handle any aggressors in the ground while the pilots were getting rescued. But just a really cool plane. This is as close to 1-to-1 scale as I can get it. So let's go ahead and we'll fire up the A1 Skyraider here. Kind of show you some of the new stuff I put on there, and we'll go harass some enemies. So carrier-based, folding wings, super cool. Let's go ahead and look in the back compartment here. So they had it so you could sit 2 in the back, as you can see. They had all sorts of gauges and whatnots in here, so I didn't bother going through that much at the moment. But let's go ahead and jump in. We already have a parachute on, so let's go ahead and get in there and let's go hit some enemies. So we'll go master power on, engine start stop. This has a huge radial in it, so it takes a little bit to get started. We'll go ahead and we'll go through the gauges really quick. Airspeed, attitude indicator, altimeter, turn slip indicator. We have our compass, our VSI, a vertical speed indicator. Really great work by this. I will look up the author and put it in the description. Master power, engine starts up, battery, charge, discharge, brake release, brake swing fold, closed canopy, flaps, flap position, gear. We do have to watch our temp in this. A lot of people who don't have any experience with larger, complex aircraft don't understand. You can't go full throttle all the time. You actually have to monitor your temperatures. You have to monitor overspeed. You don't want to go full throttle all the time. For example, even in jets, when I was taking off in the airlines, we wouldn't even have 100% of our thrust taken off. We had takeoff set thrust, which was, I think, like 90-something%. And if we pushed it all the way forward in an emergency, we could get more thrust. We'd get 100%. But you can't run the engines at 100% all the time. It'll actually damage the engines. So that's very realistic. So kind of did that. We have fuel, 540 gallons in our main body. If we look at our fuel pod, I can't really get to it from here. It's over 100 gallons. That's probably settling, actually. We have our throttle, we have our prop, we have all of our port munitions, and we have our starboard munitions. So let's go ahead and we'll get out there. So we'll release the brake. We'll set our prop to 10% for takeoff. We want to close the canopy, and we'll start taxiing out. And so we have... this aircraft lasted so long. They had some, I think they even ran AIM 9s on there, missiles. They had all sorts of modern munitions on this. I forget what year exactly they stopped using the Skyraider, but it had a very long service life, and just kind of a super cool plane. So you see with some more primitive type of munitions, and you'll even see with some more of the modern stuff. So I have 8 of my Comet missiles. That's what I've been using here, so we should be able to hit quite a bit. We have some rockets there, so we have 12 aside, 24 total. We have 4 autocannons, and we have our drop tank, of course. So let's go ahead and we'll fold our wings up. We'll fold our wings down. There we go. So wings are down here. We're going to do a flap 0 takeoff. We don't need them for takeoff. Generally, it depends on the type of aircraft, but you don't always need flaps for takeoff. We do not want to go full throttle on this, despite, people's thoughts on how accurate Stormworks is. There are torque effects, and so if we over-torque the engine, we will drop that right wing, and we will hit. So I have to be very careful. I have to keep my tail down. I'm kind of like forcing my tail down. That's pretty realistic. Once you get speed and that tail gets some airflow over it, it will pop up. And so there we go. We're up here. And so let's go watch the gear stow in their little cubbies here. They're really cool cubbies. That's actually the first gear hang I've had here. Let's go ahead and reset them. That's the first gear hang I've had. So shocker there, actually. I usually don't get that. Let's set our prop to our max speed. Actually, we're going to go about a little bit over max speed, and the reason for that is I want to get that RPM on the RPM on the engine down a little bit to keep our engine cooled. And so we're going to follow the rail line up here. We have enemy at the chemical plant. We have enemy at Spy Cakes. So that's interesting. That gear hung. Usually that does not happen. Now that I'm slowed down just a hair, I'm going to try dropping the gear and see if I can't get it up. That is something you have to worry about IRL, especially if gear are folding forwards, that you have max gear retraction speeds. There we go. So it could have been something like that where, the gear was actually fighting the air resistance in-game. So we're coming in here. We're running at about 200 knots. That's where I want to be. Again, you don't want to be screaming in fast. The faster you're going, the shorter the amount of time you have to make your decisions and to aim on target. So we have a ship, 12 o'clock. We're going to go hit him right off the bat here. Fire 1. And that should corkscrew right into him. Boom, hit him in the side. Let's get it. We'll back out of here. So he took one to the side. This is a really maneuverable plane. We have a jet after us. Jet could be hairy. You need to be careful of that. We're going to roll out. Try and do a little bit more of third-person flying so you can see it. I certainly do best in the cockpit. And so we're going to see if my actual pilot skills can overcome this AI. Those Eurofighters are a little bit, I would say, overly maneuverable. Selected P2 here. I don't want to lose too much energy here in the dogfight. See if I can't harass them. I'm going to see if I can't just avoid him. If I can get it, I should be able to outmaneuver him here and feed him a missile at some point. These missiles aren't really designed to be air-to-air. So there we go. He took another hit to the side. I'm actually doing a pretty good job of keeping this guy off my tail here, so. Let's check my temp. I do have to constantly check temp on this. I want this realistic, so this one you actually have to manage your engine temperature like you would in real life. So we're doing well here. Coming around, we've hit that ship twice. Let's see if we can't feed him another one here. Going low level, beautiful broadside. Missile away. And he took another one. Make sure vehicle damage is on. Sometimes I leave that off. Vehicle damage is on. Okay, good. So he should be getting damage there. Oh yeah, this jet can't keep up with me. I'm able to do loop and chandelles and everything else a lot better than he can, so. I think that's one of Jersey's planes, but I'm not sure. Turns a little unrealistically. I tend to make my stuff more realistic, so. Alright, here he is again. See if we can't feed him another one. Hopefully this finishes him off. Yep, he's being resilient there. He's eaten quite a few of our missiles here. Like to kill at least one ship here before I go back and land, so. Try not to use up all my missiles, but again, I don't need to kill all the enemy in one sortie. Let's follow that one in. There we go. He's been hit again. Let's switch to guns. I need to kind of move my prop to get to guns. There we go. All right, so we're going to go on a gun run here. So we have 4 cannons. We should be able to hammer them pretty hard with this. Nice thing is we can get nice and slow with this aircraft. That really allows me to stay on station. So don't have anything like a sight just because of space limitations. But we can stay on target really long and hammer him pretty hard. So again, this is close air support. So get the speed nice and slow. Maneuver. Come right back on target here. So we want to be careful we don't overextend. There we go, got him. So you can see how I can easily stay on target. That's because I'm keeping my speed pretty low. You know, when using the fencer and some of my other jets, they're fast. So it's tough to stay on target. Oh, I might be able to get on this guy. If I can get on him, I'm taking him down. Yep, I'm behind him. All right, we're following this jet. We're going to take the jet out. Beats. Ah, he's toast, he's toast, he's hit, he's hit. It's good night, son, good night, son. There we go, Skyraider took the jet. So, maneuverability and an actual pilot wins out on somebody's Eurofighter. Somebody said it was Jersey's, I'm not sure. Let me select P1 there. Let's check my temp. Temp is high. We need to go full prop here. We need to cut that RPM down. I need to drop some temp here, so. Alright, so I'm dropping temp. Trying to drop temp here. We can still keep a pretty good speed here. We're still going a good 130 knots, but I need to drop temp off, because that will cause me problems. Okay, let's see what's up our next missile here. P4. P4, I think, is actually... Let me check. Nope, P4 is good. P5 is our rockets. I think I actually labeled them rockets. So what do we have there? We have a Civi helicopter. We're not going to attack the Civi helicopter, but I'm quite happy that we killed that jet. Fuel is great. So, again, this is, you know, this is designed to be a more similar... Ooh, let's not get into a spin here. We're in a spin. We're literally in a spin. Okay. I'm going to overcome it with some power. Okay, there we go. Overcame it with a little bit of power there. I need to be careful. Let's add just a hair of flaps here. That's going to give us just a little bit. So I'm actually doing some real-life procedures. People give Stormworks a ton of grief for not being realistic when they talk about airplanes. And as a real pilot, you know, I'm doing a lot of things I'd have to do in real life, and they're working just fine, you know. I actually got into a little bit of a spin there. I corrected with rudder. You don't want to use ailerons on a spin. It will only make it worse. And I add a little bit of flaps because, you know, I got in a spin because I did an accelerated stall. Stall is actually the angle of attack to the relative wind. It is not speed. You can stall at any speed, you know, and so I was actually going in a dive and I pulled too, you know, essentially turned too hard, and my angle of attack to my wind was of my relative wind was too high, and I stalled out my wing, and so and then I actually spun a little bit, so I just corrected with rudder and got us out of the spin. So these are real things you have to do, cross-checking, checking your temperatures. These are all things you have to do IRL. So let's see if we can't find another enemy. So they're a chemical plant. I'm trying to be very careful of AAA. I have a missile for him, but I want to find him. So I think that's chemical plant there. I'm going to do kind of a flyby, use my binoculars. Let's check the map too. Okay. And let's, as we fly by, I'm going to use my binoculars, see if I can see any enemy. Up there we go. We got a AAA or a tank. Oh, AAA is right there. So we're going after the AAA. We have to be careful. We are slow. I'm having to keep a slow speed because of my overheating issue here. And so I've pulled it back, and so we're only doing 140 knots, so we are not able to really buzz him. We have to hit him with the missile from range, make sure it tracks in, and then we have to kind of bug out a little bit. So let's go ahead and set up. We're going to set up for a long run on him. I know right where he is, so I am setting up. He's right here, right there. And so I'm going to set up my missile, and I'm going to stay pretty far away. I actually fed him 2. I didn't want to feed him 2, but that should knock him out quicker. He's gone. Okay, AAA is gone. I'm going to keep my low power setting. I don't want to put on heat. Just a jet shooting at our rear. We have a tank on the tracks. Did not mean to fire 2 missiles at him, but he's gone now. So Station 4 should still have a missile. We can even see it. Take him out. And then we'll be out of missiles. We'll hammer on the ships with some rockets, guns, checking fuel, checking fuel. Again, this is all called cross-check. You're cross-checking your gauges. You have to do this to make sure you're not running out of fuel, over-tapping, doing all these things. I'm going to spin it again if I'm not careful. I'm banking too hard here. So I'm lining up on the tank here. Let's see where we're at. He's there. Just double checking the AAA is dead. AAA is 100% dead. Take a missile there, guy. Here we go. He's gone as well. All right, perfect. So chemical plant looks like it is clean. Chemical plant is clean. There's the little van to cap. We're not going to cap it right now. I have no way to land this sucker. All right, so that's good. We took all that out. I'm down to rockets, and I'm down to guns. So let's go ahead and... Where are my rockets? P5. Is it P5? I'm trying to remember. This aircraft I haven't touched. Center station is the drop pod. So P5, I believe. So let's go P5 and 5. That should give me rockets. All right, there were a couple ships. I want to hit ships just because they're big and I can, there we go, more easily hit them. I'm not going after that double stack just because there's a good chance they gun me to death there if I hit a double stack. I'm going to go after this single boy. Up. I screwed up. I didn't set up my rockets maybe. Guns are still on. Okay, what did I do? I screwed something up here. Rockets, okay. Up. We got somebody on our tail. I think I'm out of guns, too. I used them all up fighting that jet, so do have a jet on our tail. Let's go try to do a quick rocket run on this ship again here. There we go. See, I can commit longer with this aircraft. Again, I'm going slower. I have good maneuverability on this. So I can do things like, oh, that's actually the guy we shot. He's still alive. He's just being a pain. So, Should be very unlikely that he's able to get to us here. He's pretty hurt, and I'm pretty, think I can outturn him by quite a bit. Yeah, he's hurt and he's burning, so I can't imagine he lasts too long. You know, I can stay on target pretty long with this because of the slower speed, but the issue is that. Is they just shot me. So I need to get some altitude. I need to open my canopy. I need to try to get out of here, so... I did not overtemp, they hit me, so... Did a good job of keeping temperature. Alright, we're in deep crap now, so I'm trying to get away from the enemy so they can't shoot me when I'm in the water. Alright, let's go full flaps. Let's get a little bit here. Do I want to ditch? No, I don't. I want to bail. I can't. I forget how to do my... Okay, I survived anyways. I forgot how to do my, my parachute. So we did survive that one. Unfortunately, he's after us, though. I do want to get away from that noise. Oh, he's coming at me. This doesn't bode well. What was that? Something just dropped into the water. Looked like a missile. Alright, so I took a big strafe. Again, I kind of violated my own rule there. My rule was don't go after that double stack of ships when I'm slow. You know, that's the benefit of being slow again, as I was able to stay on target. I was able to gun that ship to death no problem with my cannons. The downside is, you know, speed makes it, the faster you are, it's harder for them to hit you. And I slowed down, but I'm very proud of killing that plane with the gun run. Unfortunately, I don't have too much cannon ammo just because of space restrictions on in the wings. You know, I'd like to hold some more. If I can figure a way to get more ammo in there, I will, but that's probably unlikely with how big our belt sections are. So I'm going to try to go over here and see if I can't capture this. So I'll time-lapse this. And one or two things is I'll time-lapse it out and see if I can't get a capture. The hut was up there. But I think I'll leave you guys there. You know, I will let you know in the next episode if I survived or not. So I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.